Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton. Today I am using the Wonderland stamp set again. You'll probably guess by now that I absolutely adore this stamp set, and I hope you will too. And I think, like me, you'll probably think that really needs to be one that goes into my collection and stays there for a very long time. So today I'm actually making this card here, and you would be very forgiven for thinking that this is vellum, a vellum overlay, which actually it isn't. It's actually a stamped background, and I'm using Mossy Meadow and Smoky Slate with chocolate chip, and so product wise this is very simple today. Before I start though, I'm going to explain my hands. Now I know you're very used to me having inky fingers. This isn't though. This is because I've been making quince paste, membrillo, which is like a cross between a curd cheese and like lemon curd type of thing, and a leather, fruit leather, and it's used with cheese. And our quince tree actually produced a bumper crop today, this year, and I have just spent several hours peeling and coring all of them. And no, I wasn't wearing gloves, so I have very stained nails and fingers. Usually takes about a week to wear off. So just bear with me with that one and ignore the fingers. They have been scrubbed, I promise. Right, so getting on, I'm going to pop this to one side, and before you do, you'll probably notice there's a bit of glitter going on there as well. Right, so as always, you want to start by making your card base, and we're using a 6-inch card base today. So you want to trim your cardstock to 12 inches by 6 inches, or in metric that is 30 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and then score the long side at 10.5, at 15 centimeters or 6 inches. Fold. This is the indented side. You want to be folding towards that crease, so it's hidden inside the card, and then pop that to one side. So the first layer we're working on is using crumb cake and Smoky Slate ink with that beautiful tree from the stamp set, and we're going to stamp this a couple of times to create that misty background, that misty backdrop of trees, forest of trees. So ink up and start so that your trees are slightly off the page, so you're stamping off the page. And for the ones in the foreground, you want to make sure that you're stamping them with full colour, so make sure you're inking them up each time. Just going to go back over there for a bit more definition, and there you go, that's your background. And that is going to be matte onto a piece of glimmer paper. Now this one is champagne, which is no longer available, but it does come in dazzling diamonds and silver and gold. So that measures 9.4 by 9.4. So this layer here is 9 centimeters by 9 centimeters. This is 9.4 by 9.4 centimeters. And I did find that the best medium for adhering to glimmer card is actually the fast fuse. It just gives it that extra adhesive that adhesiveness, because it sticks a little bit firmer. And remember, down, flick, and just because this is on glimmer paper, just a couple of little bits of adhesive top and bottom, pop that centrally down, and then that can go just to one side for a moment. Your next layer is a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and that measures 12 centimetres by 12 centimetres, and we're really just working around the border because this is going to sit on top here. So using a combination of the cone stamp and also the stars. So first of all, use the pine cone one, and you're just going to create a frame around the edge of the cardstock all the way around that panel. And I tend to do mine so that it kind of goes in arcs, so it gives it a slightly more cohesive. Okay, and just go all the way around. And with this one I'm using chocolate chip. You could use something else, but I've gone with chocolate chip today. And then finish with one in there. And you do want it to be fairly random. You don't want it to be too much of an impact, if you like, because we're going to sponge this once we've done the stars. So the stars are done with smoky slate, and you get several different size stars on the one stamp. And again, you just want to go around the border, just inside all the edges as well. And when it comes to sponging this with the Mossy Meadow, and just a few random ones in the middle, just in case your cardstock shows through. Okay. And I'll tell you what I forgot to do, which was the actual sentiment on that centerpiece. So I'm going to use the All Is Calm, All Is Bright, and you're doing it onto that Mossy Meadow. I obviously should have done it before I mat it down onto the glimmer card, but hopefully this will come out okay. There you go. That's your sentiment done as well. Right, now for a bit of sponging. So you just want to find yourself a piece of stamping sponge, and Mossy Meadow ink, and you've seen me do it before, but ink up your sponge and then just ink a little bit off just to get that sponge loaded with colour, and then start off the edge of the cardstock, and what that will do is it will create ink on the edges of your card as well, and that just gives it a really nice finish. You don't get any harsh edges then when it's all layered up. You just want to go all the way around, just allowing for the areas that are going to be seen by that top layer we've made at the top there. And what you can do is you can go back, you can add extra ink in places like this, so you get a deeper intensity of colour in some areas. Generally the corners you want to be a little bit darker, and sometimes in that middle bit as well. If a lot of the card is showing, then obviously you would go more to town with it, but with this one we don't need that. And these inks will dry quite significantly lighter in colour, and I'm matting it onto Mossy Meadow card as well, again using Fast Fuse. You just need a couple of strips with this one. That goes down, and the mat measures 12.4 by 12.4, and then add some Stampin' dimensionals to the back. So those are your sticky fixer type things, but Stampin' Up ones for me just excel above all others, and you can use much less of them because they're thicker and more robust. They're easy to cut down, and they just give a nice finish. So you literally only use 4. When I used to use a different make, a cheaper make, I used to have to stick loads on, and you never quite were guaranteed that it would have a permanent fixing, but with this one it does. It just fixes fabulously. Right, so this then goes down onto your card base, which I put somewhere, didn't I? Because I folded it. There we go. And you just want to decide whether you want it side opening or whether you want it like a mounting fold. I tend to do my nice cards as a mounting fold when I do 5 or 6 inch square ones. So get that as central as you can. And then again, Stampin' dimensionals onto this layer. And this really helps to pop up the important parts of that card. Take the backing off. Pop it in the middle. And you can decide which way round you want that to be before you pop it down if you want. We're just getting a hint of that stamping coming through. That goes on there, and then the final thing is a bow, and I'm using the gold satin ribbon here, and I use a bunny ears method, but the important part of this is that the tails always go backwards. So you make one loop, pinch it between your fingers, make your second loop the same size approximately, and again that tail is going away from me. Pop it through, and then you can very gently just pull on the tails until you get the size you want, and just literally keep coming down, then pulling them out, and eventually you will get the size bow that you want. We don't want this to be too large. I'm not the world's best bow maker, I have to say, but I usually get away okay. Right, so that looks reasonably okay. Cut off the tails at an angle. You can always trim them a bit more once they're on the card front and you decide just how long you want them to be. I think that one's probably a bit too long. I always cut off once I've made the bow, and I just find that gives a nicer finish. So that's just going to go on there, and that uses glue dots. And if you have your glue dots so that the glue dots, you reveal them so the tape goes away from you, and you can then pull it back one at a time, decide which is the back of your bow and which is the front, press it on, and then that's ready. So when you come to your next glue dot, you need your next one's there, and then you don't end up in a big sticky mess. That goes up there, give it a nice firm press, and there you have it, today's card. Really quick and simple. I hope you've enjoyed today's card, and I would really love to see your versions. All my various social media accounts you'll find in the further information section underneath today's video, and I'd love to see you on any one of those accounts, so just drop me a line and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for now. Bye.